the stiff truth.
You ready? And whenever you're ready. Now I'm ready. No pressure. We don't have to keep to a stringent, strict timetable, but let's go. Let's go. Go.
And welcome to the Stiff Truth. I'm Bob West. I'm here with Scotty Casanova.
Oh my God.
Seriously though, welcome everybody. What a special show. It's our 100th episode, and we never would have thought we'd get to 100. I don't know. It seems like a lot of episodes, right? But here we are, episode 100.
The C-note, baby.
Excited as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to it. Scott, how you been? It seems like it's been forever since we've shared the platform.
It's been a little while. It's been a piece. We'll just say it's been a hot minute. A couple other terms there. I'm doing well. I mean, I appreciated our time off. Our R&R.
It was good.
Yeah, it was nice. And we both took another trip around the sun over this past month of July. That's exciting. I'm officially 40. That's also, I got mixed feelings about that, but I'm going to go ahead and just have faith in you that this is the decade, right? This is the one. This is the good one. So I just got to keep focused on that, and I think I'm going to be okay. But I'm doing great, man. I mean, one thing that I'm really excited about, besides seeing your beautiful face again via Zoom, because I mean, God, you look fantastic today. I don't know what you're doing to yourself, but keep it up, buddy. I'm excited to get down to some fancy drinking again and just keeping it stiff. So what do you got today? Because I'm going to just let everybody know out there, we did not plan a drink today. We are not doing a collaboration drink. So it was kind of like you call it, bring it to the table, whatever you like. It's our 100th show. We've had a lot of drinks. Just do what you want, Bob. What did you do when you wanted to do it?
Man, it's tough when you're thumbing through the bartender's guide. It is really tough. There's like thousands of drinks in there, not even bullshitting. And
really is.
I landed on one I've done before. Oh, I gotta sneeze.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, Christ, get it out of there.
I just sneezed out a monkeypox.
Oh, Jesus.
So I landed on a
there it is. Look
F
at
me
that.
hard. This is what this is.
That is
literally
a dandy.
The drink is called F, the letter F me hard. Not
and I
fuck
think
me hard. Got to keep it PC.
He just went and did it. He went and did it, everybody. This one is not for the kids, everybody. Number 100 is not for the kids, but we do it for the kids. Am I right? I mean, that's really what it's all about, Bob, when it really comes down to brass tacks.
It's always been about the kids. I mean, it's about giving Jared Leto his so that he can still look the way he does.
Yeah, we talked about that. Jesus Christ. If anybody's watched Morbius, dude's 50 years old, looks like he's about 25, maybe 25. I mean, he's got like a assembly line, a pipeline of just infants coming into his house. And he's just like, I think he's literally just puncturing like a big metal straw right into the soft spot of a baby's head, sucking that brain out and just moving on. I think he's got to go. He's probably got to do like at least a dozen or two a day to keep that, to keep that glow that he has, right?
It's like those old Tropicana commercials from the 90s when they just punched the straw right into the orange and drank it, right? That's Jared Leto with his babies.
Except
he stays youthful.
Except it's a little bit softer than having to pierce through that rough outer shell of an orange.
But not to be fair, he shares them with Paul Rudd, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's true. Both those guys looking great for their age. And both guys in comic book movies. I like what you did there. I don't even think you planned it either. So kudos to you, my friend.
I didn't, but how are those guys still looking like that? Reigning most attractive man. What is it? Reigning most eligible bachelor, most eligible beautiful man. What is that? Paul Rudd's got right now.
Sexiest man alive
Sexiest
or whatever.
Man alive.
Yeah. But what's crazy is he got it around the turn of the century and then like last year. You know what I mean? Like a 20-year difference.
It's like the same photo.
Seriously, dude. Hey, remind us again, because I'll tell you what, once you mentioned right before the show that you're going to do an F Me Hard, I was like, oh, that, I don't quite remember what was in that, but it is a dandy. That's one of those like where you feel like a mad scientist back there just throwing a bunch of shit together, right? What's in
fact,
that bad boy?
I normally bring the drinks from the bar into the kitchen when I'm mixing it out because the ice, the glasses, and all that. But this time, I brought that shit back to the bar where all the bottles were because it was just simply too much to to traverse with all those bottles into the other room.
So much going on.
It's got a half ounce of vodka. It's got a half ounce of rum. It's got a half ounce of gin. It's got a half ounce of
melon liqueur, if I think I'm right.
Coconut rum, melon liqueur,
and
slow
gin,
and
something. Is there any mixers in there?
I think that's about it. Yes. You top it off with orange juice. So by the time you put all that, kids, into the glass, you're really only looking about maybe a shot of orange juice, an ounce and a half, maybe 2 ounces at most. There's just not a lot of room left. That's a lot of booze in there. Comes out looking like this. Little kind of orangey red looking thing, kind of like orange Kool-Aid in a way. But
kind of like diluted menstrual blood, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you left it on ice overnight, and this is how it ended up after a quick
which
start.
we always do. Well, you know what I love about that drink, dude. Not only is it fun to make, there's lots of booze in there, which is great. You know, it helps you flex your bartender muscles, but this is kind of that drink where you really push a bartender to like make sure he's got all of his mixers on any given night that he's there. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, dude, make an F me hard. You know, make me an F me hard. And then he's got to really pull some resources together to make sure he's got everything. Because there is a chance, more than a lot of other drinks out there, that you may go to like pour one of these and be like, fuck, I'm out of slow jug. Fuck, I'm out of something. Right. So it's kind of like if you want to be a pretentious dickhead at the bar, you order an F me hard.
So, and the funny thing is, I look at it and I'm looking at like, oh, there's like 8 or 9 boozes in there. And I was like, yeah, I got all that. I can make it's not even a question. But yeah, no, nice. It's a good drink. What are you having over there?
You know, I kept it, as we like to do, Bob, super cash. I'll just go ahead and say that. I took my favorite drink. So regular listeners, the stiffies of the show may know what it is. I preach about it, but I went ahead and just made me a lovely orange juice based drink as well, but a double Harvey wall banger. So I'm going to call it, since it's a very big wall, it's a border wall banger, if we want to make it relevant to today's news cycle.
We like that. We like
the Arizona border wall banger right here. So it is just doubling up on everything. 3 ounces of vodka, then orange juice. And I'll tell you what, when I filled this with ice and put the 3 ounces of vodka, it was already over half filled with the ice. I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be a little stiff." And then filled it up with OJ. It was probably like a couple ounces of OJ and then a nice solid ounce of Galliano. So it's fabulous. Nothing crazy, nothing special, but smooth, simple, and right to the point.
I like that. It's the border wall that has no crisis. I like that.
Absolutely, my friend. And you know, this was fun. I enjoyed this because we've done 100 shows. It's a lot of shows.
Well, technically, we've done 99.
Yeah. Well, according to Buzzsprout, this is 101. I don't know what we recorded. We must.
Oh, no. We had the interview with our good friend of the show, Evan.
Ah, that's right.
That didn't get numbered as an episode because it was just a midweek interview that we wanted to do to talk to our good friend Evan.
But it wasn't a actual like show on the rotation as we do
it. Right. It wasn't a numbered episode, but that's an interview with Evan Webb. If I remember, want to circle back and dig into that at all.
Hey, guys, go ahead.
And while we're giving shots out, I want to go ahead and get a birthday wish to our good buddy Gonzo, our good buddy Dave Gonzo. Happy birthday, buddy! We'll drink one for you here.
Absolutely. And I believe he is. I'm just gonna, who cares, right? I think he's 42 too, right? 42
he is.
As well.
I'm his elder because I'm 2 weeks older.
That makes sense. That's why he's always the power bottom. Is I understand.
So I'm always demanding that respect.
You have to. I mean, dude, you didn't like blood, sweat, and tear it up for 2 more weeks in him for nothing. I mean, that can't go unnoticed. So I appreciate that. But yes, happy birthday, Gonzo. We love you, bud. Outside of that, I was saying this 100 shows, 101 shows, whatever you want to say. We got 100 legit shows now.
A lot of freaking shows. Yeah.
But as I was thinking about, I was like, let's just do let's just bring to the table, whatever. I got a little anxious at first. Of course, I went to my go-to. I did think about it right away. I was like, well, obviously I could just make a Harvey Wallbanger and make it stronger. I mean, let's just stiff this thing up and let's get down to business and let's get done. But then I second guessed myself, and I started like my mind was just flooded with all these drinks that we've done. And I'll be honest with you, bro, I feel a little bit ashamed of myself here. I don't think I remember how to prepare at least half of the drinks that we've done. There's been a lot of them, bro. And I don't even remember some of the names of the drinks that we've done. I've gone back and like looked at previous episodes. I was like, what the fuck kind of drink is that?
I'm going to say this, dude. Neither do bartenders. That's why the book.
Yeah, I guess
that's exactly why. Right, you'll know all your go-tos, right? Yeah. You'll know how to make your simple ones, your most requested ones. Probably the most complex is your long drinks that you're going to really remember when you're working bar. FYI, I worked bar. But when you start to get to these one-off like weird drinks, like no one's ever going to remember how to make a fucking F me hard. Come on. That has to be either a signature like club drink that you have on the wall or something often for you to make it a lot, because no one's gonna ask for it. No one's gonna even know that unless they also have a bartender book.
Again, unless you're that asshole that's a regular at your local sports bar. I was like, this fucking guy keeps ordering this shit. I had to go out and buy it at Smith's the other day. I had to get all this other stuff. What a dick. Comes in every Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Orders a drink with like 8 mixers in it that I don't have.
Said he was going to talk shit on Yelp if I don't have it next time.
Yeah, it's like, it's always, he doesn't even have a job. He just like constantly is leaving new shitty Yelp reviews. Well, good shit though. Glad we're back. Glad we're having some stiff cocktails here. And I'll tell you what, there's been a lot going on in the world, but it's kind of been super cash at the same time. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy has gone on. I will tell you a little parallel of doing our 100th show. There's also 100 days until the midterm elections. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I saw that the other day.
Yeah, yes.
So we'll see what happens there. Don't even really want to get into the politics of what's going on. We always have next week's show or the week after, whatever, to get into that.
Well, we got 100 more days to talk about it. So
we do have 100 more days to talk about it. And there's going to be some fallout between now and then that we really need to keep an eye on. But again, we'll keep everyone posted, right?
All I got to say as a preview for everybody, there's basically, if this was like Game of Thrones, there's like 4 houses right now. There's the extreme left, the extreme right, and the 2 moderates on each side that are all just battling each other. It's quite interesting.
You know what I mean? Crazy.
Yeah.
The Joe Manchin flip that really pissed McConnell off just recently, which is, I don't know, for anyone that's following it, it was about, I want to say it was about some sort of not quite an infrastructure deal, but it was kind of like a green sort of initiative deal, right? Isn't that what they were doing? There's like taxes involved in it. There was incentives for green technology, shit like that was in there. So I don't know. There's just a lot of politicking going on right now, and it'll be very interesting to see. But we'll catch everyone up next week, I'm sure.
Very true. Yeah. Very, very true. And here's the big thing I just wanted to mention today that is relevant. That I got to preface this, a little disclaimer here that I don't chuckle or find too many things humorous that are serious, especially that could involve personal injury, death, or just, misfortune or what have you. But interesting. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
What's that all about? How is that even possible? How do we have 9 minutes left? What is this? I guess we're gonna have to wrap it up, Bob. I guess did it give us like, hold on a second. That's comical right there. It's giving us a solid like 25 minutes or something like that, or 30, probably 30 minutes considering the time that we haven't recorded. So I'm not sure what that's all about.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about it, but that's fine.
Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Anyways, me and Bob got the wrap it up music here from Zoom apparently, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. But what I was gonna say is, what is comical, Bob? To me at least, because it seems like I don't know, it made me chuckle a little bit. Monkeypox, not very funny at all in the sense that it looks pretty fucking nasty, to be honest. And I don't know if you heard recently here, but I'm not sure how recent this is, in the last couple of days or so, but New York City has declared a public health emergency for monkeypox, because out of the world, they have the majority, and definitely out of the United States, they have the majority of cases. I want to say plus or minus almost 6,000 cases of monkeypox. So I'm watching this on the news earlier, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, another like crazy disease just being rampant there. Like, what am I going to have to do to avoid this? And then they highlight and continue to emphasize like how it can be spread. And they're kind of like almost taking like a casual undertone of like, hey, it seems to be highly dominated by the cases that we see in New York City by homosexual men. And you can only really get it by very close personal contact, pretty much sexual contact. And I was like, okay. So I'm thinking about myself. I'm like, all right, I'm kind of safe there. I'm not super, super gay.
I love the kind of. I love that. Gotta have a caveat in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of safe there. But I literally I turned to Jamie. I was like, so is this like the new gay disease? I was like, apparently so. I think it is. And then I was like, how do you do a PSA politically correct on this and be like, hey guys, you know what, monkeypox, it can get pretty nasty. So just like dial down the extreme gayness. Like, I mean, I'm not saying don't be gay. Just just kind of keep it super cash in the sense of like maybe just some, some really homoerotic like vibes and overtones. Nothing too just flamboyantly flipping like light and loafers kind of gay. So maybe like no parades for the next couple of months or something like that. Oh, but it did make me laugh a little bit. So call it what it is, but I know also too some people in the gay community are pretty upset about it because it is being coined as like a gay virus, and that's obviously not the case. But I mean, hey, with how it's being passed around right now, obviously be safe out there if you are a homosexual man, and just make sure that you lock it up, bro. Keep it covered up. That's all I got to say. Wear a raincoat. Do what you got to do.
Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool.
There you go, Bob. There you go. Oh my goodness. But have you seen some of these pictures of monkeypox? It's really quite I don't know if breathtaking is the word, but maybe like taking breath away. You're like, whew, it's definitely not it's not something that seems hard to spot or hard to diagnose, even self-diagnose. So how it's becoming so rampantly spread without knowledge, it just seems to me like people are just, very cavalierly walking around and shit. So I don't know what's going on.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's very strange. And from what I understand, there is a vaccine for monkeypox. I think it's like the smallpox vaccine or some shit.
No, yeah, it's totally legit. And they're actually trying to get more doses of that to New York City and a couple other hotspots. But it is crazy. There's 25% of the cases in North America are in New York City. And then I was looking at like a world map. There's like 6,000 cases out of the United States, 2,500 in the UK, and then small pockets in a few other major metropolitan areas. And I was like, wow, UK and fucking USA are just dirty. Apparently, like just
every time.
Not a lot of hygiene going on around those areas. But I mean, now we know. But yeah, it is interesting. It seems like, again, the reason why I am being a little lighthearted about it is like you can literally get the vaccine and I think you're going to be just fine with this. It's not like this is going to cause a global pandemic, knock on wood. But, and
I thought about this. If it's the smallpox vaccine, I'm 100% down to get the smallpox vaccine. I've never gotten it. I'm pretty sure they still give it to our soldiers. And there's a bunch of countries that still like have it to use as like weapons. And I wouldn't mind getting it just to be safe against, China and Russia, because those fuckers are planning something. So
when you were talking there, and that's very true, it sounded like you were going to say I'm 100% down to get the smallpox, just like it was like a fun thing that it's like
I hope that's the way you get it, sweetie.
It's like, I haven't gone skydiving.
I was scheduling a trip to New York, so
it's like I'm going to New York. As soon as I get out of the LaGuardia airport, I'm going straight to my favorite bar, the Toolbox. It's gonna be fun. So just join me there. I'm gonna be licking doorknobs and toilet seats. So join me, and we're just going to push through.
I'm gonna follow it up with a nightcap at the 24-hour the special nightclub that I like to go to, the Hanging Tool Belt. I love that one.
Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness, that can be some fun stuff, Bob. Oh, that did make me laugh. So I mean, but besides that, bro, was there anything else before we start getting into what we actually want to chat about today? And if you're not watching the YouTube video, you might be able to see that both me and Bob have the same background.
It's a little
Bob's,
different.
yeah, Bob's is slightly different. Also looks like it's maybe a little bit nearsighted, but that's okay. Slightly blurry, but it looks like we're going to be talking about some great movies and great shows that are going to be coming out here. And Bob, you shared this with me on TikTok, I believe last week. But what is this? Where was this? Was this at Comic-Con that this was unrolled or rolled out? Excuse me.
Yes. Let me see if I can get the exact.
Because that just happened really recently for the first time in 2 years, like the big one in San Diego that they normally have every year.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying to see where it was actually. I know it was at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I just don't know which one.
I don't want to keep everybody
Yeah.
here.
It was Marvel Studios. So I'm quoting the Nerdist.com here as an article about this. Marvel Studios announces full MCU Phase 5 slate at San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay, so
yes, it did happen there.
But basically, if all the nerds out there didn't see it yet, I don't know who this guy is. Maybe you know the guy's name, but like kind of the executive for Marvel Studios kind of rolled out.
His name's Fagel or
Fagala.
Like so
he's recovering from
basically,
monkeypox right now.
He's the guy that runs the Marvel MCU, right? From a corporate standpoint. And I want to say his name is Fagel or Fagel.
I bet Fagel, whatever it is, this guy's got some cash. Let's just go ahead and say that. Yeah. So basically, if anybody didn't see this recently, they roll out phases of Marvel Studio movies and shows on Disney Plus, and they are just now closing out Phase 4. As they're closing out Phase 4, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, but there's 2 more things left in Phase 4. There's She-Hulk Attorney at Large, which I believe is a show. Is that going to be
a series?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that's going to be on Disney Plus. And then they're rounding out and closing it out with basically Black Panther 2, right? What is it? Something Forever. What is it again?
Wakanda
yeah,
Forever?
Wakanda Forever, which looks really, really good. I'm interested to see how they progress that storyline without the actor from the first one that tragically died from cancer not too long ago, but it looks like it's going to be a good production. I mean, Marvel does a great job, but long short here, then they teased basically what's going on now through the end of 2025, 2026, right? With Phase 6. And Bob sent me this video of them rolling this out and just kind of what's going to be coming out here over the next few years. And we wanted to focus today on just, chatting about Marvel movies and Marvel shows, and really primarily what's going to be going on and what we like and dislike, but potentially, or maybe what we don't know about in Phase 5, this upcoming. And I think this is going to be going until, call it like mid to late 2024. Does that sound about right?
July 25th, 2024.
Beautiful.
Or 26th.
Beautiful. But we got a lot of good stuff here. I will say, to start things off, Bob, unless did you want to add something to that?
No, this was announced at Comic-Con in San Diego by Kevin Feige. He is the president of Marvel. So
what's that name again?
So I pulled up Wikipedia just to pronounce it right, and it says F-Y-G-E-G-H-E-E. So Feige, but it's Kevin Feige, F-E-I-G-E.
Do you think he got made fun of in school a little bit?
He's so Kevin Feige is an American film and television producer who has been the president of Marvel Studios and the primary producer of the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise since 2007. So he's the main guy. He's the head honcho. Probably a sick, twisted asshole, but as most presidents of corporate companies are. So,
and just to be a good role model, he was the first one in line to get his monkeypox vaccine a while back, so he's fine.
He's the first one in line to give it, maybe.
Bobby. Anyways, I digress here. Talking a little bit about this, though. Let's just start at the beginning, shall we? I will say this, though. I'm a decent fan of Ant-Man. I'm a decent fan. And I know even my daughter, Elizabeth, even she's like, I can take it or leave it, but I love Paul Rudd. We discussed this man. He's a beautiful man. I can't remember who plays Wasp, but it's his wife. I don't know.
Oh, it's the girl from Lost.
Okay. Yeah. She does a good job. And also, Michael Douglas. I mean, anytime you can pepper in that guy in any movie, please do. I love Michael Douglas, man.
Yeah,
Reminds
and
me.
the fact that he kind of lives on through Ant-Man's legacy because he is Professor Pym, so like
Yeah.
even when he's not able to be there, his legacy will still kind of be part of that series forever because of who they made him as the character. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's kind of like Seaman in that way. You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool. He's always there and he's kind of sticky.
Well, and he's kind of like a Professor Xavier, right?
Yes.
Like I know that we had the new Professor Xavier, but let's all like we know that Professor X is Patrick Stewart. I mean, come
Absolutely.
on, we all
Serious.
know. So
By the way, just to slice this in here, I thought it was fantastic that Patrick Stewart was in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness,
yes,
like in that alternate universe. I was like, oh, it's actually him in his special little chair. I love him. And then his head blows up, which spoiler alert, he dies.
and then John Krasinski.
Yes, that's the guy. That's
Mr.
the guy.
Fantastic.
Yes, the guy from The Office. So, but I digress again. Sorry, I'm going to get off track a little bit here because we're talking about exciting, nerdy comic book stuff. But Ant-Man and Wasp and what is this?
Quantumania.
Almost sounds like, like a monster truck rally that's going to be happening here. It's pretty interesting. But
so apparently in the comic books, once Ant-Man brings his daughter into the fold, she like betrays them or something. So it'll be an interesting kind of storyline there to really see what happens in the movie. I don't have any Ant-Man comic books. I don't have really any comic books hardly, but that's on me. In fact, I'm probably like not as cool as I could be because I don't collect comic books. So that's like the nerdiest thing to say ever. The chicks would really dig me if I started a mean comic book collection.
Hey, you would have to save a little pussy for the rest of us if you did. I'm sure. Easy, Bob.
Well, you've got a hand for it.
I do. But I this is bad conversation. It brings up really bad, hard memories that I've buried in years of therapy. But I used to have so much.
You got robbed, didn't you?
Yes, I got robbed, which is so unusual to happen in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But you know what? It happened.
Who would have thought in a wholesome Christian place like Albuquerque?
Yeah, but no, there was a time, and it was when I moved out on my own, starting in like 2000, that I toted around my big thing of comics, which I had stuff going back to the 70s that I used to collect, obviously not personally myself, but I used to just collect from and get out of the glass cases back then. Me and my brother, we started collecting comics in the mid to late 80s, had some great stuff, lost it all. But as of right now, I do have a small collection of comic books, including Punisher #1, which is one of my favorite ones that I had back in the day. And Jamie actually got it for me again as like a birthday present, a few years back. So we're kind of dialing it down, keeping it super cash.
I bet that one runs a couple of pennies, huh?
Yeah, I think it's worth around $100. I mean, it's not over the top.
Crazy.
Nothing too outrageous. It's not a Superman #1 or anything like that from the 30s, but it's a good one. Here's what's interesting about Ant-Man. I never collected any Ant-Man comics. In fact, I'm going to admit it right now. When it comes to some of the stuff that Marvel's coming out with, I'm ignorant completely of some of these comics. I guess I'm not that much of a super nerd when it really comes down to brass tacks, because I didn't really know much about Ant-Man at all, to be honest with you. But it does, I think this is the arrival of Kang, right? That's like Kang's Dynasty is going to be one of the adventure movies that's coming out in phase 6.
That's phase 6. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But it looks like he's introduced in this Ant-Man 3 movie. So that's interesting. So again, this looks like, can I say this? Because I was reading through this to give everybody a summary of what's exciting about phase 5 is throughout all of these Marvel movies, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Ant-Man, all this stuff, coming out, Guardians of the Galaxies, it's been really heavy until Infinity Wars, that like the good guys were just kicking everybody's ass. Everybody's ass was getting handed to them. Yes, they were kind of formidable enemies, but at the end of the day, at the end of every movie, if it wasn't a continuation of a movie, usually the good guys were having the last laugh and the bad guys, the villains, were getting fucked up. Now, this seems to be kind of the birth of all the villains that kind of like catch all these, superheroes by surprise, in the sense that they're now the strength of the villains is getting to where they didn't understand what they were kind of getting into, and they weren't prepared for this, is kind of what it looks like to me, because it looks like they're really bringing in a heavy element of villains, and that's really fucking cool. Starting with probably, which I think is the coolest, is Kingpin, and it's really cool that Kingpin's going to be peppered in here and played by Vincent D'Onofrio.
And we got a little taste of Kingpin, at least in at the theater with the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because he actually his big battle, his big antagonist in that movie was Kingpin. Naturally, it wasn't the film Kingpin that we're about to see, but just the storyline and that kind of leading into there is pretty sweet. Even though I don't believe that Into the Spider-Verse is actually woven into the MCU universe's timeline.
I don't think it is, but goddamn, I'll be honest with you, it's my favorite Spider-Man by far.
Mine too.
Favorite Spider-Man by far.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's such a good movie.
It's a really good one, dude. I just love what they did with it.
Look, I'm waiting on them to have a 6 Spider-Man trilogy series just about following Gwen's version of Spider-Man in that part of the multiverse. I think that would be such a cool Spider-Man to have the Gwen Stacy Spider-Man and follow her in that universe where she's from. But I don't know if they'll ever do it, but I think that would be pretty tight, personally.
I agree. No, I agree. And hands down too. I saw that movie in the theaters. When did it come out? I want to say it came out right before the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say literally 2019.
Yeah, something like that. We took Elizabeth to see it because I was like, hey, it's animated. She'll be into it, because I'm always trying to get her into superhero comic book movies, and she, until recently, since now that she's 8, she's like finally like getting into it. But like this was like when she's like 5, 6 years old, not really into it. But she loved that one because it's more animated, more friendly that way. And goddamn, I was surprised. My favorite one was like the noir kind of Spider-Man, like the throwback black and white one from like the 40s, the 30s, 40s. That was the coolest.
Or when he hits people, it's all pow.
yeah, this is great. I was like, dude, you got like Spider-Man that's also like just walked out of a speakeasy, you know what I mean? And got like a cigar and like a scotch in his hand. You're like, this is great. I love this. I love this version of Spider-Man. But great. And again, I'm going to say this a few times. I digress. Okay. And it's okay to. It's okay to, Bob, too. But getting in to that, and when does that come out, by the way? So Ant-Man's going to be coming out February 2023. Okay, that's not such a slow burn. All right, it seems like it's a long way away, but that's
6 months away. It's not bad.
It's literally right after the holiday season.
Well, and in the timeline, sorry to interrupt, but in the timeline of things, we have Black Panther coming out in November. So really, it's not going to be very long after the last Marvel movie comes out. I mean, a few months, and we'll get another fix.
Yeah, because I'll be going to be jonesing too. I'm going to need to get well on some Marvel pretty soon here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so after that, though, we've got Secret Invasion happening. Now, this seems interesting to me. Bob, I don't know much about this either. Nick Fury is kind of an enigma in the Marvel comic universe.
And it looks like it's, for all intents and purposes, his show.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it looks like it really starts threading in a extraterrestrial element to the Marvel comic universe, which is very cool, because until now, we've had all kind of the basic superhuman superpower shit, right? And then with WandaVision, we started to like just get a peek into like the supernatural, element of the Marvel comic universe. And also who went into that a little bit more was Moon Knight. Moon Knight was fantastic, small little series. Did you watch Moon Knight?
What a cool break from the norm. Moon Knight, I thought, was like something that could have been nominated
I thought it was
as
really
a
good.
series. I think the acting was top notch. Just everything about it. Just the 2 stars of that show. Having Ethan Hawke, next to I forget the dude's name that played Captain Poe.
Oscar Isaac. He was the main character. Great. Him and Ethan Hawke, great stuff. Great.
Yeah, and he's just probably one of the best, most popular actors kind of out there right now. Right. Dude's just got endless range, and he's just right at that perfect age where he can kind of play anything that you want him to. Anyway, it was he made the series hands down. It was really great following him around in his story, but then just the Egyptian lore and everything about Moon Knight was so fantastic. I was gripped by Moon Knight. I watched every episode on the day that it came out, and was just hooked. They had me. They had me like exactly. I was following the model of exactly what they wanted. Is that release day viewer? That was me.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. 100%. I trailed a little bit behind you, but honestly, that was one that, besides giving you a refreshing breath away from like the standard superhero mold of the MCU, we'll just go ahead and abbreviate it since I'm going to obviously say it a lot. It was really cool because it was actually, there was elements of real scare in those episodes too. It was kind of frightful. Like I watched it with Elizabeth, and there was times that she had to like cover her face. I was like, yeah, this is pretty hardcore right now, in the sense
yeah.
it was like, it was suspenseful. It was in your face. There was some good scare in there. It was really good. And then
some of the murder scenes were like pretty explicit.
Yeah, they were pretty explicit, and the psychological element, right? The higher level like battle, between him and his alternate selves or whatever. That was it was pretty dope. Let's put it there. And I was doing a little bit reading earlier. It looks like it's undetermined if they're going to make a Moon Knight 2, meaning like season 2. I think they should. Obviously, it's going to be way different if you remember the ending, right? Like it's like his character is kind of separated from himself. It's another alternate person that's like actually
the third ego, right?
Yeah, the third ego that's going to be carrying it on. So it would be interesting, but I say let's go for it. But I don't see it anywhere on the map. But as we know, and we'll talk about shortly, Loki season 2, which is going to be coming out like next year, like next spring, they don't really tend to like follow up with seasons, like really soon after the other. So who knows if we're going to be seeing a Moon Knight. But anyways, it'll be interesting now to get a peek in there of like having aliens interjected into the universe, in addition to more of the supernatural, right? Because in addition to Secret Invasion, and honestly, unless you want to spend some more time on that, I don't have a lot more of a peek into there. Then right after that, we've got Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Which is going to be, that's a go to the movies, get some D-box seats, hang on for the ride.
Yeah. And honestly, just by doing a little reading about it, this is, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, this is what I think it's my favorite series in the Marvel comic universe that I've seen with my daughter. I think it's like a fan favorite for the family. Jamie loves it. I love it. Elizabeth loves it. It's got everything you want. It's got action. It's got suspense. It's got thrill. It's got like lighthearted comedy. There's great music in these fucking movies. I don't know who the director is. Actually, I think I do. I take that back. Hold on. James Gunn, great director, in the sense that he picks like some great music to be in these movies. It's usually a bunch of hardcore 70s rock. It's just great. But you come to love these characters. You come to love the banter between them all. And apparently this is the ending. And they really put a stamp on this being the last one in more ways than one. And it looks like they're going to say that a decent amount of these folks are going to be dead. So seems like this is going to be a big one, Bob. But it's also going to be a big heartbreak too. Well, what do you think about that?
I'm just kicking on back over here.
Good for you.
So, the thing about Marvel is like death is not all the time the end.
Wow, that's very philosophical. I like that. Socrates is coming in here.
they've introduced the multiverse. True, and so the possibilities from a story writing standpoint are limitless. So you can kill off the Guardians, but then you can actually bring back the Guardians, and even bring back the Guardians with a different cast for budgeting reasons, and say that they're from a different multiverse. You know what I mean?
And availability of actors or the age of actors. You're absolutely correct.
Because once you get a certain, once you hit the second or third film of a series, the budget explodes, because the actors literally are making 20-30 million for the film. And in a film like that with Guardians, and you have so many high dollar, high name actors, I got to think from a fiscal perspective, from a corporate perspective, it's probably very hard to keep the cast together at a certain extent. It's kind of like keeping a Super Bowl winning team together, right? They just get very expensive to keep, and you just can't really afford the budget. But because of the multiverse, I think that opens up a great opportunity. So even though this is the third film and there might be some tragedy going on with this cast, I still don't think it's going to be the end of Guardians. And I did see something that's not on any of the timelines, and it actually comes out next month.
Oh my God, Bob. Lay it on me, baby. Lay it on me, because I did not prepare for this, and I love when you throw me some curveballs and make me ad lib things. So here goes real emotion. Go ahead.
So She-Hulk is coming out on, I think it's
Mhm.
August 10th.
Yeah, it looks like that's the next installment, like
On,
right out of the gate.
I
here.
want to say it's August 17th or 18th or like the
Mhm.
very next week. I Am Groot comes out
Oh
on Disney
yeah.
Plus, and that looks like it's going to be great.
And you know what? I'll tell you what. That's one of, and I think what they did there is they saw, let's just face it, the success of the Mandalorian
Baby
has
Yoda.
so much to do with Grogu and Baby Yoda and bringing small children into the hysteria, dude. Elizabeth has a baby Grogu doll. She almost got a baby Grogu a backpack for third grade as we're like doing shopping for school. She's got a Baby Yoda poster. I mean, it's just all up in there. And that actually pulled her into the Star Wars universe, right? And they very wisely kind of did that the way they did. And I think they're doing the same thing with Groot, because everybody loves Groot, and it's like one of those fan favorites that the kids are just hysteric about, So I think that's smart. And I'm not gonna lie, I love Groot. He's great. So is it going to be baby Groot? Is that what you said?
Yes, it's a small Groot. It's like when he's starting to grow back, at least from the screenshot that I saw. So
I saw something about that too. I didn't see it on our timeline, but I did too. And that looks, again, it looks like just a cash cow spinoff right there, and playing right to the hearts of children, which with these, when they do it correctly, is going to pull everybody in, but definitely going to pull them in a lot of new viewership and essentially start generating new lifelong fans at an early age. And that's smart. I like that.
Yeah. We don't have a ton of a time, and I feel like our pace is a little slow, but I'm not concerned about it, Scott, because we have next week if we need to continue this on. There's still phase 6 to go on to, so I don't really, I don't know, I don't want to rush it. This deserves our attention.
Well,
So next we have coming up in summer of 2023, we have Echo. So
I know nothing about Echo. I'm not gonna lie.
I really liked Hawkeye, which is funny because a lot of people didn't, because Hawkeye is kind of like the lamest Marvel superhero in the Avengers, right? But he's also the most realistic one, right? He's just kind of a military trained badass with a bow and arrow, has a bunch of different tips. He's just a normal guy. He has no healing powers, he has no special abilities. He's just kind of like Batman, right? He's just trained a long time and he's really good at what he does.
Yeah, but okay. Easy, guy. Easy. I know we're jumping universes here, but
so
Batman got his own show from us. Hawkeye's not going to. All
no,
right, I'm just
no,
gonna leave it at that.
not. But I do own a pair of Hawkeye socks, so I am
Jesus
that guy.
Christ. Hey, like I said before, save a little pussy for the
rest. So Echo in the Hawkeye series, if you guys watched it, then the main antagonist, right up until the very last episode, was kind of an assassin for the mob. It was this kind of mostly deaf chick, wore her ear, what are those called, the I don't know, the ear amplifier things.
Oh, hearing aids.
Hearing aid. Yeah, it's like a deaf hearing aid, right? So it was like
wait a minute.
So anyway,
hearing aids
I don't know, but anyway, so
wait, hold on. Oh, my dude.
Which is kind of cool because like she spoke in sign and she read lips, and Hawkeye also like,
Jim, I love you, Hawkeye.
so that's where she's from. But anyway, so she's Native American, so that's kind of cool. Get a twist on things. And so I don't know. I'm not gonna just dismiss this Echo show. I'll probably watch it and I'll probably enjoy it. It's coming to Disney Plus in summer of 2023, and it'll probably good. I'm a little bit excited to see it. But then, shortly after that is something that we've been waiting for quite some time.
I'll agree. And I'll say one thing about Echo that I think is really exciting. I know nothing about the character. I think the character's new in the sense that it's not something that has a lot of doesn't have a lot of historical data behind it in the comic books, but it is going to bring in to phase 5, both Kingpin and Daredevil, right? Like they're going to be a heavy presence in this show, which I think is done strategically because we'll talk about it soon, but there's going to be a very big series, an 18 episode series for Daredevil. And I honestly think they're doing what they should be doing. They're laying the groundwork and the foundation, which for probably what's going to be bringing in the most money, or the most new revenue for the MCU in years to come is Daredevil, Kingpin, and the like. I think honestly before, and we'll see if they fuck it up. They could fuck it up, but I think they fucked up Daredevil back in the day. You know what I mean? Who was it? Was it Ben Affleck? Yeah, that played Daredevil. That was around the same timing when they came out with Catwoman, and I love Halle Berry, probably one of the most amazingly beautiful women of all time. That movie was like the worst movie of all time, and I think Daredevil kind of like was came out in the same kind of air and didn't do very well and didn't do Daredevil justice. So it's interesting to see.
Now, what do you think about the Daredevil series on Netflix?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'm just saying. I mean, is it really? I mean, what are they doing there? I mean, and they're going to be coming out with a Daredevil like show now.
Yeah, and the Daredevil that's on Disney Plus is like made Disney Plus at a TV mature rating.
I like that.
So check out Daredevil on Disney Plus and circle back when you have more bandwidth.
I will absolutely do that because I want to make sure that we create some synergy here between the two of us.
So, I mean, right after that is something that came out of left field earlier. Well, I guess it was last year at this point, but something that came out of left field was Loki.
Did you hear that? What's
that? Nice. Crack it. Loki came out and we're just all like, what, how good can this possibly be? And it was fucking amazing.
I'll say this. This is proof in the pudding right here that they can take and I'll just say like Loki's a cool character, but if you think about him in the Iron Man movies and the Avengers, like before Infinity Wars, right? When he actually showed he had some like some depth to him and he wasn't just a piece of shit, like you really didn't care too much, but he got a little bit of fan juice in like the second Avengers movie. And they're like, you know what? We're just going to spin this off into a badass mindfuck of a show. Throw Owen Wilson in this bad boy. People are going to love it. And they absolutely did. I loved it. I am probably more excited for Loki season 2 than anything else coming out in phase 5, except for one movie. That's all I'm going to say.
And then Loki also introduced us to what's his name? Kane the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's a very important person in the MCU. And I'm surprised that he hadn't made his appearance to this point. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on over the next few years. I have a feeling that character is going to insert himself into a lot more of these other shows and movies.
Well, I'll just say this. I think that you've got a fractionated or whatever you want to say. Was that like abbreviated, a kind of broken up Avenger squad? I think he comes roaring back to be a very big presence in the Avenger movies that are coming in phase 6. That's all I'm going to say. He's the anti-hero right now, which is fantastic. He is kind of like the Batman of the Marvel comic universe in that sense of how he's kind of a vigilante type guy. He's not 100% like a cookie cutter and a goody two shoe. So there's a lot coming for Loki. I think they beta tested it with the fans and all signs point to yes is all I got to say there. There's a lot coming for this guy.
Well, and then right around our birthday next year, we've got the Marvels coming out. So the Marvels is cool because I liked Miss Marvel. I thought it was a cool series. I liked introducing the little Indian American girl, different cultures, and the Pakistani family and things like that. I never really got a chance to dig into that kind of culture, the mosque culture, and all the different food that they're eating and all the stuff. It's just kind of cool to sit on all that. But in the end, I thought her character's really cool. I thought her cast of friends. I thought adding the genie storyline in there was a really cool thing. I thought they did a really good job with the movie, and I thought she was a pretty cool character. But she's going to team up with Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and Monica Rambeau. If you remember from WandaVision, that was Carol Danvers' friend's daughter that actually ended up going into Wanda's shit and getting her superpowers, right? But they didn't really show what those superpowers were. It just kind of teased it and then bounced. So we get to find out a little bit more about Monica Rambeau and what she's going to be doing. I'm sure all the nerds in the comic books already know, and they think we're just a bunch of posers up here. But we're not talking comic books. We're talking fucking movies.
Yeah.
And movies and shows.
So go fucking fuck yourself and save some pussy for the rest of us. I'll say it again. Sorry for the obscenities, everybody, but it just has to be done. We haven't had a show in a few weeks, and it's our 100th episode, everybody. Give us a break. Let me say this real quick. By the way, as you know, I was way late to the game. Way late to the game. I'm a bad fan, but I just watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness like earlier this week.
Good for you, by the way. It's a good one.
Great show. And I'm gonna say this though. The Scarlet Witch, Wanda, is, in my mind, the most powerful person in the Marvel comic universe, besides maybe Captain Marvel. I think if those two teamed up, like, you'd have something on your hands there. I don't think you could stop either of those together.
I think she might be the most powerful person in DC or Marvel.
Yeah.
I think the only one that can really rival her would be possibly the Phoenix. Right? They're very similar.
If she can control herself, right. I mean, you know what I mean? Like she has a temper problem, you know, so I just don't know if that's going to pan out, but you're absolutely right. And you know what, what's interesting about what you just said there is Scarlet Witch is kind of a loose cannon too. Can't really control herself in the sense that she's not all quite there. She's not very disciplined. And I think that's what makes her that much more scary in the sense of her power as well.
A little bit of a wild card.
Yeah, a little bit of untapped kind of potential that you just don't know where it's going to go. But I really did like in that movie how she was, again, obviously the antagonist that kind of ended up being a good, spoiler alert, as I haven't seen this movie that's came out a while ago, that ended up being, back to being a good person by the end of the show. But anyways, I just want to interject there. After we've got the Marvels coming out, we've got Ironheart. Now, again, I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know, and I think this is purposeful. I don't know anything about this because I believe it's a continuation of a character that we're introduced to in Black Panther 2. Is that correct, Bob?
For Ironheart?
Yes, she's gonna the actress at least or actor is gonna debut.
In Black Panther. Okay, so yeah. I didn't know anything about Ironheart, so I did have to do some research on this, and come to find out, similar to Peter Parker, she's a really smart kid. All right, she gets kind of involved with Iron Man, with Tony Stark and his foundation. She's an MIT student at like 16 or something like that, right? So she's one of those, little nerdy kids, but she develops the suit similar to Iron Man's. So I think there's hope that she can kind of continue in the Iron Man role since they killed off Iron Man. So we'll see. Again, with the multiverse, there's always options to bring him back if you really want to. But I think it's going to be cool because it's going to be a female Iron Man type character that's going to kick a bunch of ass. So I'm pretty excited about the Ironheart. I think it's going to be good. I'm really down with the heroine leads. I think they're interesting. We've grown up our whole life with, the masculine superhero or super type lead action character. So it is kind of refreshing to see some of these female leads coming along.
Well, I'm going to say this right now. If it was a reality-based movie, which I know never any action movie is, but if it's trying to be, I think you got to stay with the men, okay? Because in reality, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bruce Willis and Sylvester Stallone are going to kick everybody's ass. However, if they have superpowers, then the gender thing is off the map in that sense.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's what I'm saying.
Give it a break already.
And
guys.
I think that's what we're getting out here. Another one that's like really excited, and we've been waiting for this for 20 fucking years, and that's Blade. We've got a new fucking Blade coming out next summer, and that's like the most incredible thing that's happened in a while.
Honestly, release date I think is November 3rd, 2023, and I'm totally fine with that. I think they should go ahead. It's that close, bro. Just make it fucking October 31st. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Make it a Halloween release. Like,
it's probably because Halloween probably falls on like a Monday or something.
Yeah, true.
This is probably following Thursday or Friday or whatever.
It's probably the Friday after or something like that. But this is what I was going to say. This is the movie that, and this will make it or break it for me, dude. I have the highest expectations for this movie. And we talked about this before. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but Blade is the movie that saved Marvel, like Marvel Studios back in the late 90s.
Oh, without Blade, we wouldn't have had all those X-Men movies.
No, we wouldn't have had anything because without the X-Men movies, we don't have Iron Man. If we don't have Iron Man, I mean, like it's a domino effect that literally you can say the success of Blade and having an anti-hero, but having a Marvel comic book character dominate the box office and take everybody's heart and really be a force that can be reckoned with. I mean, dude, Blade spawned 3 movies. There was like 2 sequels to Blade that included Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel by the end of it. You know what I mean? And at that time, when they came out in the early 2000s, those were like marquee A-listers that were like doing everything. This one to me, again, it's going to be tough. Like this could really, really piss me off and upset me if they just don't do a good job to my standards, which my standards are just too high, I think, because I really do. If you have to ask me what's my favorite like comic book movie, it's probably Blade, the very first Blade from what is it, like 98, something like that?
98. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. So I mean, they're starting off good, right? They've got Marshall Ali playing Blade.
I don't know who that
you've
is.
got the Academy Award winning actor of Marshall Ali playing Blade. That's already making a solid commitment, right?
I hope so. Yeah.
So I think that this movie is going to be a lot different than the first one. The first one was your typical action film coming in the 90s in a genre of action films. It's got to be fast. It's got to be gory. It's got to be bloodthirsty. It's got to be explosions. That's the 90s action, right? But I don't doubt at all if this one gets much more dramatic and much more serious and much more authentic. So I'm looking for a level of realism that we've never seen with Blade, and I'm really hoping they deliver. I have a feeling with their cast that it's really going to deliver us something special and something unexpected. So look for Blade. I have a good feeling about this one. I think it's going to be fucking amazing.
I hope so. I really do. I think they're doing a good job here. And what I'm looking at the top cast, it's even got what's this, Delroy Lindo. I don't know if you know that guy. If you look at, I'm looking at IMDb right now.
Yeah, I pull it up too.
Yeah, it looks like a good cast, bro. And I hope you're right. I hope you're wrong in the sense that if they make it too dramatic and slow, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. Blade is a badass.
Oh, unless it's setting up 2 more films.
Right. That's true. But again, without the knowledge, with the unknown, if there's going to be more Blade movies, I want to see, here's what I want to see. How do they actually make the connection in the movie with Blade and the rest of the MCU? That is interesting because back in the day, that obviously wasn't the thing you had to do. In fact, it was a no-no. You didn't want to actually like say anything about Spider-Man in the original Blade. That would have been fucking stupid and like kind of pathetic, right? You're like, what are we doing here? Like that it was a standalone movie by itself. So now that they are literally kind of interjecting and inserting Blade into this already kind of, very foundational universe, it'll be interesting to see how they do that. I'm very open-minded about that part of it, but I think he's got to at least have a scene where he kills about 30 or 40 guys. It just has to happen. You know what I mean? So
it's going to happen.
There is that. But yeah, he's the ultimate badass. And maybe, hopefully, that Wesley Snipes may have a cameo as just somebody in there. That'd be kind of cool. Get Wesley back in there. He's paid his taxes. He's done his time. Like, let him have.
He has paid his taxes. Well, I don't know if he's paid his taxes, but he's definitely done his time. So coming up next is again, I thank you for even telling me who this was Agatha Covenant Chaos. It's a series on Disney Plus. It's coming up. I guess we should have explained that. So is Ironheart. Blade is a movie. But the Covenant Chaos apparently is the witch that was the neighbor to Wanda.
Which I have any idea. I have nothing about. This literally, I think, is a brainchild of the people that are working on these movies right now. You know what I mean? Like, we have no idea what's going on. I don't know, unless you do. Tell me more.
No, I couldn't find much at all about this. In fact, what you told me was kind of actually tied it all together for me. I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. So we get to find out a whole new story about that. It's coming out winter 23 to 24, something around there. But we're going to see what Wanda's witchy neighbor is up to in a series on Disney Plus. And honestly, I'm sure to be cool because that little slice of the universe is pretty cool. That supernatural slice that you were talking about.
Yeah, no, I think this again, what's really cool about this is whether they're villains or whether they're anti-heroes, we really are going to open up the door on the more mystic and supernatural aspect of MCU and just like the superpowers that can be harnessed through the occult and the, in spiritual world versus just mistakes in a laboratory. Who was bitten by a spider or who was bitten by a hornet? Like all that shit kind of gets a little older. Somebody was like, trying to make fucking Crank and they accidentally spilled something on themselves. All of a sudden he's the Incredible Hulk, that kind of story. It gets a little old in the sense of like, how many times can you watch that Rebirth and other stories where you got to start opening up the floodgates here? You got to open up the creative mind, Bob. And I like what they're doing here. So I know nothing about her, but Agatha, let's go.
Well, speaking of rebirth, Daredevil Born Again comes out
Oh my
spring of
God.
2024.
This guy is all business, business, business all the time, Bob.
so this is an incredible series. First of all, Daredevil's badass. If you guys haven't seen any of it, even go watch the old movie. As bad as it was, it's still pretty good. Go watch the series on Disney Plus. But there's a new Daredevil series coming out on Disney Plus in spring of 2024. Daredevil's basically this blind dude that just kicks a bunch of ass.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's got heightened senses, right? The old hat, the old story. You lose one sense, the other ones are
he's
better.
Basically a bat out there. Like,
yeah,
dude's using echolocation to kick some ass, right? So just check it out if you haven't seen it, but it's going to be a great series.
Well, it's got Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio in there, and again, I can't stress this enough. Very excited to see how Kingpin continues to climb up the ladder in this villain-dominated Phase 5. That's all I'm going to say, because he's a badass. I think D'Onofrio too. You can't have a better guy playing him, so there's definitely some legs on that one. Very interested, and here's the kind of the indication that they had a lot going on here. It's an 18 episode series, Bob. 18 fucking episodes. That's unheard of in the sense where you usually stop a series at 10, 12 max. So for them to go 18 with this, they had a lot to say. They got a lot to lay down. And I think, again, this is going to kind of be the framework of things to come for years with what, and obviously it depends on the response from the fans, but I think they're pretty confident that this is going to be a jetapulter kind of idea with what's going to be going on for years now.
Well, I'm pretty excited about this just because I like the Captain America franchise. But Captain America New World Order comes out, and this is going to be Captain America with Sam Wilson. If you remember in the final Avengers movie, Captain America gives a shield to Sam, who was what was his character's name?
Sam Wilson, and
that's his name. But what was his little bird suit superhero name?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know, but that was kind of pathetic.
I forget what his name was.
Like, I always felt like that guy was cute, but he's like going out with his friends. Like, he's going to get murdered out there. It's like,
right. He's like the little brother that's like going to go play ball with his older brother and his friends. Right. But he did a lot of training in the series with why am I not thinking straight anymore?
Chris Evans,
the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
The Winter Soldier.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. Captain America is probably my least favorite superhero, and the movies bore me. And I'm just gonna say this. He's kind of like, he might as well be Batman in the sense of having no superpowers. I mean, honestly, he's kind of pumped up. He's got bigger muscles, but he's got a disc. He's got like a shield he throws around, dude. Like I'm always very curious personally, like why he even made it as far as he did. He's not very exciting to me. I do differ in the opinion on this one as you. I think he's kind of boring. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Well, he's got superpowers. I mean,
yeah, well, kind of.
He's got super healing. He's got super strength. He's got a shield made from that came from Wakanda. I mean,
okay, all right.
Is it going on? So it's Falcon. Sam Wilson was a Falcon.
Him. Yes,
right.
Yes.
So in Falcon and the Winter Soldier is when he started honing in really his Captain America shit, right? So if you haven't seen that series, you probably have. Yeah. But if you haven't seen that series, you need to watch it, and it's the direct precursor to this movie coming out. But after that, the final movie wrapping up Phase 5 is Thunderbolts. So this is interesting.
You're like Thunderbolts.
So I bet it's going to be dope. So Thunderbolts essentially looks like it takes place in the multiverse, and it's on a different planet, and so it's not Earth heroes. And from what I can tell, it looks like they're super villains that actually like were portraying superheroes in a different multiverse or something like that. and they're joined by someone that's actually a hero that doesn't know that they're villains that are pretending, and I guess they're like trying to set up a score or something like this. So there's a lot of nuance that's going on in there, but the bottom line is the whole cast of anti-hero characters, which sounds to me like a lot like Suicide Squad, and I really like the dynamics of that movie. So I think that the dynamics of Thunderbolt will be very interesting, watching a bunch of ragtag kind of anti-heroes like figure it out and get thrown up against the shit where I presume they end up having to be heroes, but you never know how this movie's going to go. I don't know much about it.
Yeah. I will say this too. I know nothing about them, and that's because they first debuted in a comic book in 1997 in The Incredible Hulk. I was already done like collecting comic books at this point. So that's why when I saw this, I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I really don't know much about it though, Bob. So
well,
that rounds it out though. Obviously, it's supposed to be some pretty exciting stuff. Are you catching me here? Are we glitching out here? Because you're freezing up on me a little bit. So I want to make sure that I'm still good.
No, we're pretty good over here. So that takes us through late July 2024. That is a lot to take in 2 years' time. So there's a lot coming, and it seems like it's about every 2 to 3 months, something new is coming. Either it's a movie or it's a series, but something new is coming. So, I'm excited. Let's get it started. There's still, Black Panther and She-Hulk to wrap up phase 4 here. And then, I would say that next show we'll dig on into phase 6. What do you think?
I do like digging right in. And I'll tell you this, Bob, too. I'm very interested because I don't know if it's going to be a flop in my mind or not, but She-Hulk Attorney at Large, or what are we doing there? Like, what's going on? Like, what is going on?
I don't know, but apparently we find out in like 10 days.
I know. I have no idea, nor do I even understand the character of She-Hulk. I'm not going to lie. I don't really know much about that. Again, I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm not really a big modern Incredible Hulk fan in the sense that I loved the show back from the early 80s with Lou Ferrigno that played Incredible Hulk.
Here, let me break it down.
Can I break it down for me, baby? Lay it down.
So,
yeah,
I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters, is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics, created by writer Stan Lee and artist John Buscema. She first appeared in the Savage She-Hulk #1, cover dated February 1980. Walters is a lawyer who, after an injury, receives an emergency blood transfusion from her cousin, Bruce Banner.
Well, that makes sense now.
And acquired a milder version of his Hulk condition. As such, Walters becomes a large, powerful, green-hued version of herself. Unlike Banner, she largely retains her personality, in particular, the majority of her intelligence and emotional control. Like Hulk, she is still susceptible to outbursts of anger and becomes much stronger when enraged. In later series, her transformation is permanent, and she often breaks the fourth wall for humorous effect and running gags.
Oh, I can see it now then, Bob. That's just like the preview. It's like She-Hulk, Attorney at Large. Don't tell her to calm down.
You won't like me when I'm calm.
You're overreacting. Calm down. She's like,
that's funny.
Interesting stuff coming up. Well, you know what, Bob? We are past time.
I'm sure of it.
And that's okay. It's been a joy, Bob. And I'll tell you what here. Not only did I pound my double border wall banger, which I'll tell you what, it was good stuff, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. And I'm super pumped. I know it's going to be a slow burn for a lot of these things, except for the couple here coming out this year. We've got a lot of shit to look forward to over the next couple of years. Let's just call it, right? So it's fun. I like it. I love entertainment. I love movies. I love shows. I love superheroes. I love anti-heroes. I like villains. And we got just a chock full of a lot of that shit coming up here with just Marvel. Jesus Christ. Please, everybody. PSA, invest in Disney. That's all I got to say. Just
keep it going weekly. Just keep it. Just dump it in.
Yeah. They will bounce back. I know they had the recent thing about the whole what didn't they have another gay thing? Like they went up against like, people in Florida again. They're
I
trying
don't
to kick
know.
people.
DeSantis has a
I
war
don't know.
going with Disney right now, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
it
yeah.
really affects their stock prices.
Hey guys, summing up this episode, Disney, Marvel, monkeypox. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Well, what a dandy of an episode. I agree 100%. We'll coming up next week, we're going to break down phase 6. There's a lot to get to in phase 6, including a couple of epic movies to finish off in 2026. We're talking at the end of phase 6. So we're gonna break those down. We'll have a lot to say about those, but man, it's just been a real winner today. Episode number 100.
Woo!
Get the fuck out of here, right? So
Stuff. You know what I mean?
anyway,
Throw it
what
in
a
there.
great show, and it was a real pleasure to. It's been a real pleasure to do these last 100 episodes with Scott. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else.
Oh, that's what we say all the time, and it's true. It's so true. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Check us out again next week. We're going to continue this great story on the MCU and things alike. And until then, we love you all. Be safe out there. And if you are, feeling a little frisky, maybe go get your monkeypox vaccine. That's all I'm saying. Just be safe out there. You know what I mean?
See ya.